guys, so this video I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite passes in all of jiu-jitsu. I worked on this pass a lot over the past 3 years, and or more like 5 years. I spent so much time trying to figure out all the details and stuff. So I spent a lot of time thinking about how I wanted to present this to you guys. So I'm trying to make a really comprehensive series on it. So if you guys are interested in that, I want a lot of comments letting me know. But I'm going to give you an overview for the Toreando and how we're going to go about developing it, okay? So I broke the thing down into two main aspects and a couple different variables. So one is the finish, and then the second one is the setup, okay? Within the setup, there's like 4 main variables to consider. I'm going to give you guys an overview of all of that, a basic Toreando, and then we'll build from there, all right? So let's talk about what it is in general, right? So basically, a Toreando, you're passing the guard by going around the legs, as opposed to like a knee cut where you're going inside, or underhook, you're going under. In this case, we're trying to go around the legs, right? It's basically, it's like the simplest pass in jiu-jitsu and also the most complicated at the same time. The basic idea that I'm looking for is to turn the guy's hips away and control both legs. So one of the main things with controlling both legs that I like is that you prevent the lasso and you prevent like the foot catching your bicep or something if you do it properly, right? If I go in like with the lapel going like this, you always deal with that lasso causing problems, right? If I control both pants and I execute this correctly, he can't lasso, he can't do anything, right? I put him out of position. So the main thing I'm looking for with this pass is to turn his hip away and get around here, right? The 2 main finish variations that you're going to do is either what I call like a knee on belly side control style finish, where you go here or you drop in with your hip and kind of finish like this. The other clip the other situation is where we go more north-south. And that'll happen, so kind of crunch up tight. When the guy's really tight like this, I actually do the exact same pass, just trying to turn him. But his crunching makes him self-spin. So there's nothing I'm doing different. He's just doing it to himself. So he stays really tight, and when I hit, he ends up turning like a top like that. In this case, the elbow knee was tight, right? So I couldn't come into knee on belly. So when you spin him in north-south, it's easy to drop and try to dig in and push the legs down. So you're kind of getting into space by going from the top down, right? So I'm going to show real quick just like the pressure you want to put on the legs for the basic finish execution, but I'm going to do more in-depth videos later on the finish variations as well as like the setups and variables to consider. So when you're here, what you want to focus on is this top arm is driving this leg this way, and the bottom arm, or the inside arm, is more pulling the leg outward, right? A little bit pushed that way, but more pulling outward. I see a lot of people, they're trying to drive with this, and if you're driving with this, he can still keep his elbow and knee tight, keep that really tight, and you end up kind of like more like this. You want to get this pull, so that even if he's tight, say really crunch tight, that you'll start to get that rotation in there, right? So turn back this way. So what we want to be doing here, have the pants here, right? I drive this quick that way to turn him over, and I pull. So you get that turn there. There I can go knee on belly or potentially north-south, depending on his response, okay? So again, it should look like a pull and a push with this. So it should be like that, right? And I try to stay relatively up postured with my legs kind of wide. I'll get into that in another video of why it's important to stay postured. A lot of people make the mistake of driving down in low. You want to stay up, but I'll cover that later. Okay, so those are the 2 main finishes. Again, the 2 aspects are the finish and the setup. So with the setup, there's 4 main variables, so we're going to start to get into that here. So the first aspect is his body positioning, right? So it's one thing if the guy's legs are just low and he's like, he doesn't know what's happening, you can just run around the guard super easy, right? But some of the main things to consider is his legs can be low. They can also be what I call mid, which is where they're pointed more towards your chest. So if I start grabbing, his feet come to my bicep really easy, and it becomes a little bit more difficult. You got to get in here and deal with this, right? The other one is like high, which is like almost self-stacking. A lot of guys like Michael Lange will do this, and they keep their legs really high, and it's hard to do a traditional Toreando. So sometimes you have to mix moves in and stuff. So it's low, mid, high. The other things to consider is guys can be on their, right here he's centered. Some guys will fight on their side, right? And we have to deal with that in different manners, right? So maybe I have to drive him this way, maybe I have to pass towards the top side. So there's a lot of different things to mix in with that, okay? The second variable to consider is the grips that I grab. The grips can change based off of a lot of things, right? Like, for example, are their pants baggy and they slide up to their knees? A lot of times in instructionals, people don't address topics like that. They treat it like the pants are always here. A lot of guys, especially if they're skinny, their pants are riding up, right? Or even like we're in the gym right now, he's got knee pads on, so it's making it difficult to grip. I'm just grabbing the knee pad. Sometimes you grab the shin, or sometimes you grab inside, sometimes you grab outside. It's not like there's one right way to do it, it just depends on the situation. So I'll do some videos maybe going super in depth on the gripping itself. Another aspect to consider is the grips that he has, right? He may have no grips, or he may, it's like, let's say he gets both of my sleeves and he has his feet in my bicep. Well, at this point I'm in spider, right? I can't really Toreando now, right? But if he has both sleeves without the feet in the bicep, now I can actually Toreando, and it's even easier because he doesn't have frames. If he doesn't have grips, he may actually frame the floor with his elbow, making it a little bit more difficult to do, right? If he grabs my leg or pants here, maybe I need to create separation that I can go this way, right? So basically, again, I'll go in more in depth in another video, but like you have to understand what controls he's grabbing you with, which changes the setup that you use. And the last variable to consider is, I guess, what I just referred to as like comboing with other moves, right? So really, you know, I like to break everything down into mini positions. The position that we're looking at here is like the grip fight, right? And when he's on his back, right? Generally, you don't Toreando when the guy's sitting up. So this is like a grip fight. So I have the Toreando, but that's one weapon in my toolkit. I usually mix this with other stuff. So I may be going for a Toreando. I can one-arm throw instead of doing two-arm. I can enter for a knee cut. And or I can, like if he has his legs high, for example, sometimes I'll start stacking. Now I may stack pass where he may drive his legs back down to resist, and then it gives me the good position for the Toreando again, right? So understanding that you're going to combo this with other things is going to help set the framework for how you go about it, right? That's more or less kind of the overview of the position and how to understand it. So there's no simple way that I can just go, here's how you do a Toreando, because if I give you that and then the guy's tilted on his hip, or he's got the feet in the bicep, or he's controlling your ankles, things may vary, right? So you have to kind of take this more systematic approach of an overview of understanding, okay? So I want to know from you guys, I want you guys to comment, respond. Let me know what's giving you guys a hard time in the Toreando, what requests you have, because it's such a complex position with so many variables. And I know a lot of people have a lot of different complaints. So I just want to hear your guys' feedback. As always, if you guys like the video, please subscribe. Also on Instagram, I'm now posting a lot of stories of us training in the gym and how we model our training and a lot of new techniques we're developing, okay? At JonThomasBJJ. So thanks a lot, guys.